Hi guys, welcome to Friday. Welcome back, I guess. It is another Friday. And a lot of us are working from home currently. So welcome to my own little library at home. I've got a craft planned for you guys today. So, but before we get started, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Kelsey. I'm the Teen Librarian at the Smith Public Library. And I'm so excited that you guys are back for another Friday. I've got some very cool stuff planned coming up in the future weeks. Quite a few crafts. So hopefully this is all stuff that you guys have at home that you can do from your own houses. I tried to make sure that it used pretty common materials. I mean, you might not have some of this stuff, but it's at least things that you can order pretty cheaply online on Amazon perhaps. Or even borrow from someone if you know somebody who has a lot of craft supplies, who does a lot of crafting. Maybe they could drop them off for you. But yeah, hopefully it's things that either you have at home that you can work with or can easily acquire. So before we get started, I wanted to let you know I found this craft from a website called Happy Hooligans. It's Happy Hooligans Art Craft Play. And the address is just happyhooligans.ca. So we're going to be straw weaving today. And again, I want to let you know there might be a cat interruption in this video. I'm filming in our little library and this room is normally closed off to them because we have a cat who in particular likes to chew on the edges of things, including books. So he might make an appearance because he loves to sneak into this room. So if the camera goes all crazy, it's because he has jumped up onto this table and he's literally eyeballing me right now. So we'll see how far we get. But so to get started, what you're going to need for this craft is some yarn. And I like to use the variegated yarn. That just means that it has lots of different colors in it and it changes colors throughout, because what we're going to make is we're going to make it can be a bookmark, it can be a bracelet, it can be a headband. If you want to make a longer one, this could be a headband. But if you use variegated yarn, you'll get this really pretty colored pattern in it because all those colors will show through. So this is a pretty long one. I made this yesterday and I was using it for a bookmark and I think it turned out really well. This is the first time I'd ever made it, so I'm pretty proud of that. But anyway, I've got some beads on the end, but this is what we're going to be making. We're going to be weaving this with straws, with plastic drinking straws. So you will need 3 straws. You can use more. You could actually, I mean, you could probably use as many as you want, depending on how wide you want your finished piece to be. Like, as you can see, this has got the 3 separate sections, and that's from each of these 3 straws. So if you want to make a wider piece, go for it. Make a longer, I don't know, use more straws. So you need your straws, you need your yarn, you need some scissors. I know. I don't know if you heard him, but he's talking to me. Oh, now he's sneezing. And then some tape. You'll need some tape for this as well. And beads are optional. I just happen to have some beads that I kind of took from, the library has tons of crafting materials, so I took some beads with me when I left to go work from home, and so I've got a bunch of different beads, but those are optional. You don't have to have those because we're going to create little tassels at the end anyway. Put those there. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to cut my straws because they're a little bit uneven from yesterday. Ooh, goodness. Okay. So I've got my straws. What you're going to do is you're going to tape your straws at the end. You don't need too much tape, just enough to kind of wrap around the bottom of the straws. I'm sorry, my cat is having a sneezing attack right now in the middle of this craft. Coeur. His name is Coeur. We adopted him from the North Texas Cat Rescue. He is a little male black cat. We have 3 cats though. We'll see if any of the other ones come in and have sneezing attacks while we're doing this. So tape your straws It doesn't have to be super tight. You kind of want to have a little bit of space, but as you can see, mine are just right up next to each other like that. It doesn't have to be super tidy. It's not going to make a difference. So don't worry if it looks a little wonky. You just want to tape them at the bottom together. So then you get your yarn. And I kind of just wound off a pretty good size bit. You're going to be able to unwind it more as we go along. So don't worry about not having enough. And I didn't cut mine. I left it on the yarn ball and just unwound it as I needed it. And then I cut it at the end because I wanted to make sure that I didn't run out for any reason. So take your straws, and what you're going to do is you're going to put your yarn through in between. Leave yourself a nice long tail and put it in between like that. Do you see how that goes? Okay, so then you're going to take this yarn and you're going to go over in between the next one. Okay, just like that. And then wrap it around this straw on the end and go back in between. Just like that. And you're just going to keep doing this. You're going to keep going in between the straws. So now we're looking at it from the other side, and you go up, down in between, wrap it around, and go back in between again. So you're just alternating between from the back, wrap it around, and come back in between. So you can kind of see how it starts to weave right there. So let me show you again. Across the front, in between and down, wrap it around, up, over and in between, pull from behind, in between. And you can, I'm turning this as I show you, and you can turn it as you weave if that makes it easier for you. Up and over and in between, and you'll see it's wrapping around that straw on the end, behind, in between, around, up and over and in between. Let's see what that looks like there. So what you want to do as it starts to develop like this, you want to make sure you're pulling it a little bit tight and that you're sliding your weaving down. So now I've got it all slid down like that. So this will keep the weaving tight and make sure that you're not losing any of it. Okay. And once you get the hang of this, it goes pretty fast. And you can kind of just go at your own pace, but make sure that you're pushing it down to stay even with the others. And you can see already, you can see the different colors coming through from that variegated yarn. There we go. There's that. Going around. So you just want to weave it in and around between the straws. And I will make sure that when they post this video, that they also post the link that I got this project from. So that way, if I'm doing a terrible job of this tutorial, you can see the original tutorial that I learned this from. So you see my colors? That looks nice. All right. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep weaving in between the straws like this. And you can go, I mean, as far as your straws will let you pretty much. If you have really long straws and you want to make a really long like headband or even a choker or something, feel free to do that. And if you don't have drinking straws at home, I would imagine you could probably do the same thing if you have chopsticks at home. I know a lot of us have cold drink tumblers that have those the hard plastic straws that are reusable. I know I have a couple Starbucks cups that have reusable drinking straws. If you have some of those at home, if your parents use those, I mean, feel free to borrow their straws. Make sure they're clean first and make sure that you clean them afterwards, after you're done weaving on them. But as long as you can tape 3 durable, decently sized things together like this, you can weave on it. And you could probably use, I think it would be a little bit trickier, but I bet you could use embroidery floss to do this as well if you want to make something maybe a little bit more delicate, because embroidery floss is much thinner than yarn. But I think that would look really cool. All right. Hi, do you want to be in the video? Hold on. Come here. Oh, now he doesn't want to. This is Coeur. This is one of our kitties. Like I said, we adopted him from the North Texas Cat Rescue. He came to us with the name Coeur. It's spelled it's French. It's C-O-U-E-R, I believe. And in French, it means heart. And when we adopted him, the woman who had been fostering him was a French woman. So that's what she had named him. And we just thought we would keep the name because we didn't want to confuse him. So, okay. So here's what I got so far. I've got all my different colors showing up, and I'm starting to get a little bit close to my yarn ball here. So I'm going to wind out a little bit more and keep going. Okay. So, and I'm just kind of making sure that as I'm weaving, I'm pulling things tight. I'm making sure things stay together, and that with this hand I'm weaving, and with this hand I'm just gently keeping the strands close together. So that kind of keeps them pushed down. So I can adjust that while I weave with my right hand, and I can use my left hand to keep things in place. So hopefully you guys have been trying to stay stress-free. I know that it's difficult right now. I've had problems with it myself. I'm someone who, I suffer from anxiety quite a bit, and I'm usually able to manage that pretty well, but it gets tough right now. It's very tough right now. So we just want you guys to know that we're here for you at the library, and we're trying to make sure that we provide you guys with some online content that hopefully, I feel like at least weaving these bookmarks here, it's a little bit meditative. It allows you to kind of just sit and mindlessly weave a little bookmark together, and you can kind of get lost in your own thoughts, and hopefully you aren't turning to stressful things to think about right now. But there are a lot of really cool resources out there if you do need something to take your mind off of things, to maybe stop and have a little meditation time. If you've never gotten into meditation before, we have tons of time for that now. I know that my supervisor does it. I have never been successful at meditation. I think I truly need to try harder to get into meditation. I think it would benefit me a lot. I do think that breathing exercises are something worth checking out. Oh, Coeur's here again. What are you doing? Are you gonna help? All right. No, you can't have the yarn. Okay, you gotta get down. You can come back later. All right. But I've learned breathing exercises in the past that I think have been really beneficial, particularly the ones where you just lay very still, either on the floor, in your bed, and you slowly relax all of the muscles in your body. And I think you could probably even do some of that while you're sitting here working on this, and just tell yourself to regulate your breathing, to relax your shoulders, to relax your muscles. Maybe you're holding a lot of tension in your jaw. Make sure your jaw is relaxed. So just take some time during the day to relax yourself, to maybe be mindful of the way you're feeling, and sit down and, I don't know, do a craft, go outside and go for a walk, open your windows, listen to your cat sneeze in the background, whatever you need to do. Okay, so I've gotten a pretty good amount here. You can see all the different colors. So I am going to go ahead and we're gonna kind of wrap this up. But first, I'm gonna make sure that I get it right. So I don't want to mess this up. Okay. So you're gonna leave yourself a nice long tail again to make it about equal to the other one. So I have disconnected this from the yarn now, from the yarn ball, I should say. So what you wanna do is you're gonna cut your straws, and you're gonna cut them kind of close, probably right about here to the top, because we're gonna do another thing that's gonna keep these together. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. I think my cat heard all those exciting noises and he wants to play with it now. Okay. All right, so now it should look like this. So then you're going to cut off some pretty decent size. So if you wanna hold it up, you wanna make sure that you have a long bit down here and a decent amount at the top as well. So kind of eyeball it and then cut off a pretty good size strand. And you're gonna do that 3 times. So you can use this one then to measure 2 more lengths of yarn. Okay, need 1 more. Okay. So your weaving should be nice and tight. It shouldn't be going anywhere. What you're gonna do is you're going to take your first bit of yarn and you're gonna put it through one of these straws. And you're gonna put it all the way through. Make sure it comes out the other end. Okay. And you're gonna pull it through, okay? And now you're gonna do the same thing with the other 2 pieces of yarn. You're gonna put another piece of yarn through the next straw. Keep going. Okay. And then you're gonna put the last piece of straw, the last piece of yarn through the last straw. All the way down through. Oh, that one's got some tape stuck to the end. There we go. Okay. All right, so now you've got 3 pieces of straw on each, or 3 pieces of yarn coming through each straw. And then you've got your tail on one end and your tail on the other end. So what you're gonna do is I want you to take your tail on either end and the piece of yarn coming out of the straw closest to the tail. So whatever piece of yarn coming out of whatever straw is closest to the tail. I want you to take those and I want you to make a knot. So I'm going to make the knot where you hold it together and loop it through. And then pull it down close to the straws. So you see where mine is? If you can't get it that close, it's okay. If your weaving starts to get a little wonky, that's okay too. It's gonna fix itself in the end. So pull your knot tight. I mean, try to keep your weaving generally together, but I mean, that's what mine looks like right now. So, and I just kind of gently kept it all close together and I've got one knot. So now go ahead and take these two pieces of yarn over here that are coming out of these two straws, and I want you to do the same thing. I want you to make a knot with those as well. Okay. Now, so now you've got two knots. I know your weaving might look a little wonky at this point, but don't worry, we're getting ready to take it off. So now that you've got these, I want you to knot all four of them together. So I'm gonna do the same exact kind of knot where I just put all of the strands together and pull it through. Well, let me get a hold of it. Okay. All right. So you can kind of see where my knot is there, and I'm just going to pull it tight. Okay. Mine is starting to come apart a little bit down here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this whole weaving off of the straws. So to me, this is the hardest part. You want to be very gentle with this. And so you just, and if you can, you might want to start with just portion by portion. So I've pulled this portion down and then I just sort of shuffle all of the rest of it down close to it. So just very gently kind of shuffle it down and make sure your tail stays where it is. And now just kind of pull everything gently off of the straws. And it's gonna look, it looks like a mess. Don't worry about it. You can fix it when you get it off, I promise, because I was very scared when I first did this. So just keep pulling it off. Ooh. And it's gonna look very messy. It's gonna look like it's falling apart, but I promise it'll be okay. Oh no, maybe it's not gonna be okay. Okay, anyway. So what you can do is you can then start to pull it down. I'm gonna be upfront with you. I messed mine up a little bit. Let's see how you can pull it down. And you can see those three pieces of yarn that went through the drinking straws. You can see them still going up through the middle of your weaving. So just keep pulling it down and it'll all slide back into place. So I messed up my top a little bit up here. What happened is my three pieces of yarn that were going through the drinking straws, they got tangled up inside of the weaving. So make sure you pay attention to that and don't let the yarn that's coming through your drinking straws, don't let it get lost in the middle of your weaving. But not all is lost. We're fine. What you can do instead is go ahead and kind of bring it all together at the bottom. Get it to a state where it's all still together. So right about here for me. And then the rest of this, I'm just gonna take it apart. Okay. So, you've still got your weaving. Now we're gonna even out the yarn on this side. So I'm gonna trim this up. Got one more piece, there we go. And we're gonna do the knots just like we did on the other side. So I want you to take your tail and whatever piece of yarn is closest to your tail, and I want you to tie those in a knot. And then take the other two pieces of yarn and tie those in a knot. Okay. So it should look like this, and then go ahead and tie those in one big knot as well, so that you've got everything knotted together at the top and at the bottom. Okay. So, and as you can see, you can kind of, it's very flexible. You can kind of pull things together, make them look nice. So this one, I think, would make a really nice bracelet. There we go. You could tie it together here with the tails, maybe even these tails out a little bit. I'll do that on this end. And then what I did with this one was I just added some beads at the end. So I just did 2 beads and then tied a little knot at the end, and I did 2 beads on each one. So it's very jingly. And this one is much longer. I sat down and just went to town on this one. Let me put it in a book so I can show you how it looks. Got it in Harry Potter. Marking your place real good there. But, like I said, this one would make a perfect bracelet. However, I think the yarn might be a little warm for Texas spring and summer, but something in the wintertime, maybe. Or, like I said, you could also try this with embroidery floss. You could try this with a lot of different fibers. This is a very good fiber craft that you can do, I think, with just about any kind of material. All you need is your straws and some kind of fiber. So yarn, embroidery floss. The embroidery floss would probably take you much longer just because embroidery floss is much thinner and you'd need quite a bit more of it. But try it out and let us know how it goes. So I hope this was entertaining and hopefully educational. And I hope you guys are staying safe and trying to stay stress-free. I know it's a lot to deal with right now. We're feeling it too. And just, we're trying to make sure that we've got those resources available for you guys. So make sure that you check out all of our online research things that we have. We have Overdrive, we have Libby, we have Gale courses online, we have Mango languages, we have tons of stuff for you guys that you can access with your library card for free. So check those out and make sure you're tuning in for all of our Friday stuff. Make sure you're checking out our story times if you have younger siblings at home. And give us a call at the library if you need any help with anything, and we will try to get that sorted out for you. So enjoy your straw weaving. Show us all of the creations that you make. If you make a headband or if you make a bookmark or a bracelet, whatever you decide to do with yours, especially if you decide to use more than 3 straws, show us what you come up with. So yeah, and then I got it from a website called happyhooligans.ca. You can go check out their stuff. A lot of her stuff is geared towards younger kids, but I thought this one would be great for tweens and teens. So stay tuned for more really cool Friday things. I've got a lot of stuff in the works, and we will see you guys later.